Grab some water. All right, looks like we're live. See if you see us. Might take a minute, but.
Oh yeah, no, I can see it now.
Sick. Well, you're not going to seem like you're moving that much, I think, right? Or unless it's like a delay, I don't know, it should be quick. Versus me, am I moving a lot more? Welcome to The Noise with Cam, episode 5, 4? Hotter Stove, Satellite Hot Stove Reprise, Testing Systems, Val Klimmer joining us. Are we looking live on screen, Sean? Are you still feeling a little frozen with our ghetto setup? Or is it moving a bit more for you? It's hard to tell because it looks like you're moving fine for me. What do you think? Can't hear me? Yeah. Between like what you see, but you're not going to be able to watch it on YouTube and do it live though. Like that's not going to be instant.
So then I just stay on.
Yeah, exactly. YouTube's just to check it out. I'm wondering, can you hear?
Yeah, looks good on there.
Can you hear the audio on there? And do you hear some music too?
Yeah, I can hear music from the YouTube.
Yeah.
And then now I just have a Zoom meeting and now.
Sick. All right. Well, Sean, welcome in. I'm worried you might be a little not quite loud enough. Were you able to hear yourself or no? Did you try that?
I can hear it on YouTube as well, but I just hear the.
Yeah, do a quick check to see how loud you are. I think I'll be loud enough, but if it's the only one mic, you might not be close enough, and I can do a little switch. I'd rather just check that.
Yeah, I can hear both.
Oh, really? Perfect.
Yeah, it sounded about the same.
Sick.
I just muted mine so I didn't have the delay with like this 1 second.
The echo, yeah. Yeah, if you want to keep it open, by all means. It's good to keep an eye on it. I don't quite have the control center configured to be able to do both simultaneously. I just got to grip and rip. All right, well, let's get into it, Sean, right away. We're calling this Satellite Hot Stove. This episode might be 5, actually. I can't, well, actually, does it say live on YouTube for you? What episode?
The 5th video, but the 4th, I think live stream.
4th live stream.
The 3rd live stream.
3rd live stream. Couple private ones. Those are for our exclusive VIP members. Can't even explain how you join that tier. It's not available to anyone listening, so that's a secret for another day. But we're calling the Satellite Hot Stove, testing yet another ghetto video conferencing setup. Live from Winnipeg. Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for joining us here on The Noise, Sean. How does it feel to be, live going worldwide, broadcast to, we don't know how many, we don't have the official analytics yet, but It's a pleasure having you.
It feels great. It's yeah, to be on so early is really important, and this is internationally viewed, so that's amazing stuff.
And the fans have been clamoring. You've been surprised, like you said, only 3 live streams, and people already knew that they wanted you as one of, the top guests already. Pretty crazy. So we got to give the people what they want in the early days to build the community, as you know.
Yeah, all 4 of them are going to be available in the new episode.
Yeah, my mom, my dad, and my brother. So let's get into it. I actually did watch the second and third period tonight against Pittsburgh Penguins. Jets falling, 3-1 was the final?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Jets opened the scoring in the first, I believe. And then Pittsburgh 3 unanswered to take it. Great road game shut down. And a bit of a frustrating watch for the hometown Jets fans.
I think the toughest part comes from the guy with the C on his chest still having 0 goals this season.
They showed that on the broadcast. I was like, it's all good when you're winning, right? And then you lose a few in a row and you start to recognize some of those things.
Yeah, it doesn't look good on the sheet. And he had a quote too saying something, the 0 is very noticeable, but that's going to change soon, and that was 4 games ago or something like that. So.
Oh, yeah. Putting a target on his own back. Yeah, it's big talk. You got to back it up, right?
Yeah, it's not like Messier when he guaranteed a Stanley Cup victory with the Rangers. Then he actually went and did it. This is a much smaller scale, and he's not accomplishing it.
Yeah, he gets. That's definitely been his MO the last couple of years. Anytime someone asks a pretty reasonable question, in this case, so you're not kind of doing the most important thing that you have been known for, and the team needs you to do, and it's just so whatever. Overly confident maybe and defensive. It's it'll sort itself out versus oh, I had COVID and I actually feel like shit, or who knows, maybe something bigger is going on where he's not quite feeling, because he did miss some time. So
yeah, definitely has less games than the majority, and it's I think a weird thing where as a captain you think he should be first or second line, but as a player and how he's performing, he should be moved it down, probably third line.
Well, so how would you do it right now? Because you have to say the Dubois line is the first line. They've been lights out all year, and then because he was not playing, because then he's also not actually playing with Scheifele. Wasn't that a different line tonight where it was Scheifele, Ehlers, and Copp? And
yeah, or no, I thought Connor and Scheifele were the same.
I thought it was Dubois.
I didn't look. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I thought it was, it's certainly been Dubois and Connor, and then it's been kind of I think tonight I saw a little bit of Ehlers and Scheifele, and then who is Wheeler with? But no, you're right. Wheeler was up with Dubois a lot. I think that was the top line. You're right. Yeah, Wheeler, Dubois, Connor. I don't know. It was tough. I felt like the matchups were kind of weird. It was such a weird flow that even some of that stuff I was having trouble tracking.
Yeah, first line is Copp, Scheifele, Ehlers, and then second line is Connor, Dubois.
Right, okay. Yeah.
And the only goal came from a fourth liner.
Yeah, I actually missed the goal. It was it Tonanito or something? How do you say his name? Toninato?
Yeah.
I haven't really noticed him a ton. I don't know that he's gotten a ton of opportunity yet.
Yeah, I was actually looking through some stats today, which I don't usually keep up unless I'm at the game.
No, I thought it was frustrating. It just felt like even like a minute into the third. Well, obviously, as soon as they got their goal, it was still like so much time left where it just felt like inevitable that we weren't going to be able to generate anything when there's like 15 minutes left. It's like, hey, like, I know easier said than done. Like, I'm not saying like just do something, but maybe credit to Pittsburgh then, like, because it just really felt like there was no space whatsoever, and the third period just kind of like flew by.
They showed in the shots too, where they were up by quite a big amount after the first, and then it just was like slowing down. Like it's like the wind got taken out of their sails.
Well, it definitely did. I don't know. It's hard to be too critical because I've been generally pretty impressed with the team so far. So I don't want to, it's like, well, they've been good overall.
Yeah, no, they're doing great this year.
It's been fun. I like the segment. I don't know if you caught that Svechnikov mic'd up.
Yeah, I heard that.
He seems pretty.
He's like singing to himself and stuff like that.
He seems pretty funny. It was good.
Yeah, Zita, to do that at night. Ron McLean was saying he's like usually you just get mic'd up players it's just a lot like let's go boys.
Yeah, like nothing.
Or like when someone has something to say actually.
Or I'm sure like swearing that they're not able to. They're not actually able to play.
Yeah, because I would imagine that would happen so much.
Man, I'm sure it's like constantly F you, F this, like. I feel like it would have to be almost.
But yeah, things are doing decent. They're looking pretty good this year.
How many games have you been out to so far?
I've been to 3 or 4 this year. We added another person to our season ticket crew, so
Nice.
we got a couple less games, but
That's nice to mix it up though.
it seems to be a lot easier to get tickets now.
Yeah,
Basically, if you want to go to a game, unless it's like a Friday or Saturday night versus
Toronto.
a good team that's coming in, it's you take your pick.
You can get them.
Also, a lot harder to sell tickets. We
Really?
tried to sell a few when we were away, and just had to end up trading them.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess it's been kind of whatever, right? Long enough, or people have kind of got their fill in terms of just paying like a premium. Like people are
Oh, for sure.
happy to go now, but not going to break the bank.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a real hot ticket. But I think one of the biggest reasons to have seasons is that when playoffs come around, then you know that you have a ticket
Totally.
and you have a good ticket in your seat.
I was actually checking, so the Raptors were in San Francisco yesterday. And I was thinking about going, but like, I don't know. A couple of guys were injured and just like, Raps were gonna get crushed, and they did get crushed. It's still sweet to go, but it's pretty expensive to go watch like, just like a blowout. I was checking SeatGeek though, just like up until the game, and then a few minutes into the game. I've never actually done that before, which, you know, it's common sense. Like if you especially live near an arena and have the flexibility to potentially like walk down there, get a deal, and go. And if you don't get in, no skin off your back, you just walk home, right? But there were tickets, yeah, like $400 tickets for $100, $200 tickets for $60, kind of like right at tip or after tip. So a couple little nuggets, a little steals, like those are the big ones, because you're gonna be paying, like, you gotta expect to pay probably with fees almost $200. So to get some of those really nice ones for $200, I think would be the move, instead of trying to go for like $20. That's just impossible.
What's the best you can catch in the NBA game?
NBA, I have sat maybe 20 rows behind the basket would probably be the closest I've ever been. I've been around that space. I feel like getting them behind the basket, it's easier to get closer. On the sides, I've never had that opportunity. It's funny because I've gone to 3 games behind the hoop, all around 20 to 25. Never on the side in the lower bowl ever, and then a couple times in the middle, but that was always upper bowl, second level. It's expensive. It's so expensive. Like, I feel like middle tickets, anything lower bowl in the middle, yeah, in San Francisco now, minimum is like $450. You know, row like 30 or whatever that would be. That's the dream though, man. Being able to go courtside would be so cool.
Well, it's crazy. Like, I've sat front row at a lot of NHL games, but there still is boards and glass between.
Yeah.
And like to actually sit with your feet on the same playing surface that they're.
Oh man, like last night,
incredible.
did you see the LeBron James like brawl?
No.
Oh my god, it was insane. LeBron got suspended, man. First time of his career. Basically, LeBron like tried to like push this guy. He clearly tried to like punch this guy, but while they were playing, in a move of frustration, but they were crouched over, accidentally socked him in the face.
Yeah, I see. So I see the guy with that bloody eye.
So that guy it was hilarious. So he like legitimately went after LeBron multiple times. Like, it's usually hold me back. This guy like played it cool. He did the opposite. He was like, no, I'm good. And then like, anyway, not to say that that's like good, bad, or otherwise, but like to be courtside, seeing like this madness, same thing, like there's no boards, like you're right there, like here's these dudes, this night they happen to want to like murder each other.
Oh yeah.
He just kept going like for minutes upon minutes, and so of course you can't do that, and so LeBron got 1 game, that other guy got 2 games.
It's crazy how many people hold him back.
Dude, like that guy's like
It's so different from hockey.
It shows though, like when those guys don't want to be held back, like that dude is that guy's a big guy, you know, like
Yeah.
7 feet, 23 years old, like goes to show, like literally takes 4 adult men.
He's trying. I'm watching it right now. It's insane. I'm watching the video right now. There's like 5 guys on him that look pretty big.
Pretty. They're all.
Definitely over 6 feet. And there's that one woman that looks like has her brand on her shoulder.
She's the scary one. She's the one you don't want to mess with.
Well, I'm seeing the LeBron punch right now.
Like he tries to rock him, but you know, it's like one of those things where it's like before it's too late, he's like, oh, I'm like punching this guy in the face. It's not. That's what I mean. Like, it's not. It's definitely like a.
Like, how is he bleeding so bad? I don't get that.
It was also delayed. It was more of like a. It was one of those like shiv type things. It feels like, where you're more like scraped than actually.
It's crazy because he's bleeding a lot, and it looks like his milk is bleeding too.
I don't know. No, it's kind of a weird.
Like, it's crazy, like the stills of it. Yeah, that's wild. Shaq has a take on it. That's part of the
Oh, what does Shaq have to say?
It's a 13-minute video.
How could you say? What's there to say for 13 minutes? It's like.
I have no idea. I think it's not I think it's just a YouTuber account.
Right.
So
They've taken
it's one of those
Shaq's.
ones where it's like,
Yeah.
it's a good photo of it and a good tagline, and then there's a guy talking about something else for the person.
Those are the most annoying. And then you see them and they're like, oh, that's like
Those are the newest ones.
100,000 views. And then you're like, man, so this guy's legitimately just making money off of like being the annoying video that everyone clicked on by accident. It's like, what do you do for a living? It's like, I made videos that people clicked on by accident.
Yeah.
It's like,
Don't they have to watch for a certain amount for it to count?
I would certainly hope so.
Yeah. Because I know for Spotify, it's like that. You have to listen for 30 seconds for it to count as a listen.
A listen? Okay.
And a lot of producers have changed the way they would write songs with having the chorus at the start.
Wow. Of course you would.
At the start, so you don't have like a big lead-in.
Life is all about those incentives, And like, that's kind of crazy. Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I added a little satellite hot stove logo to the bottom corner for you.
I did see that, yeah, that's great. How did you do that?
I can like just overlay images. I can like move them around. Oh yeah, I didn't even really configure it. A little bit. I think I just put you in the bottom corner. I could make you bigger.
That's fine, I'm over.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh, okay. It's kind of annoying like that. Put you on the other side. People are gonna be freaking out, man, on the stream.
Can you cut the commercial?
Quick, cut your mark. Tarek, improvise. That'll make me smaller too. Yeah, you need to record some live music for the show.
I was playing a little bit today.
How much have you been playing lately, actually?
Not a ton.
Never see you play that much.
At the start of the pandemic, I got a PlayStation 4 instead of getting guitar lessons.
that was the decision maker. Alright, we're gonna do the tricky part of the show. So, do we have some holiday plans lined up? Parties going down already? I know we have curling
Yeah,
booked.
it's crazy that it's like December is here basically next week,
Man, it's like,
and it's that month is already starting to fill up. And it's fun though because last year it seemed like Christmas was canceled basically, so there wasn't a lot of fun things to do.
but it's starting to be like parties and stuff figured out. And
For sure, yes, like
it's awesome.
we might be double booked for some things.
No, it's gonna be good. I think, like we've all been continuously just embracing the chance to share each other's company. So I've got a Hanukkah party to attend to before I leave to come home. I'm looking forward to. So you can tell, same thing down here. People are just.
Do you have a flight booked to come back?
I'm probably gonna get it booked tomorrow.
Nice.
So I'm looking at like in a few weeks from now, in a couple weeks to get back, like for sure at least a week before Kent, and then to leave like the first week, like not rush out of here, but on like the Wednesday of the new year type of thing.
Yeah, like you're just saying you don't have to be back right away,
No.
but Winnipeg in January is a pretty tough sell to stick around.
That's the thing. You know what I mean? And it's like the snow is starting to fall out at like Tahoe, and I like don't actually have to be at work. I'm like finally have a few things settled, so I want to do some snowboarding, and then also partially like chatting with Adam today about we're gonna go look at some neighborhoods in San Francisco. So
Oh, cool.
same thing, right? Like if I stay, like I've kind of, it's a weird timing where like the time I visited over the summer, I haven't had this chunk is only like a month, and then to go back, the timing just is so weird when you want to like potentially move, and it just ends up kind of delaying things, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So
Have you been looking online or have any idea?
I have,
what
yeah.
you're looking for in San
Yeah,
Francisco?
yeah. So like it's basically these two areas, either Noe Valley, Noe Valley, or Bernal Heights, and so they're a little bit. Obviously, the city's pretty tiny. They're a little further on the south side, so just for like commuting purposes, and it also makes it warmer. Apparently, those are like, even though it's only a few miles away, some of those little micro pockets, they get a lot more sun, and so since now my blood is completely thin, it's become a thing where I'm like, I don't know, I told you about this, I'm like, I don't know, man, like some of these neighborhoods pretty cold, like I don't think I want to live there, whereas like, which is actually crazy because where we hiked today in San Jose, you can tell is always warm. It's just like the way the valley slopes up, this hill, the sun it faces south, it's always just gonna be like sun-baked hill looking at this valley, and pretty neat little pocket, and clearly a popular place to hike because it's so warm. It is gorgeous today. So anyway,
Yeah, that's awesome.
to do that, where it's like, it's just a balance. Like everything is close within the city, and so if it doesn't really matter where you live, may as well live a place that's literally like 10 degrees warmer most of the time. Like it's a big difference. So anyway, that's kind of partially why those two areas. And then the commute difference, same thing. Even though you're not that far away, in the mornings, like a couple of those differences can add up to a long time. When you're just trying to everyone's trying to bust out of there at 7 a.m. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'd be cool to check them out. You have to send lots of updates on that.
Definitely. Yeah, I've found a bunch of cool places online, so I'm curious to just kind of now go and poke around some of the shops and coffee shops and kind of see the vibe.
Yeah,
So
get an idea of the neighborhood.
exactly. check the skate spots. I've been rolling around a little bit. It's been fun. It kick-started when we went to the Forks, actually. I was like, damn, I haven't skated in a minute. So like now I've been doing my little grocery runs just with my backpack. And when I was doing my streaming, I was just having like a nice, such a childhood moment. I'm like skating to Best Buy, like the modern equivalent, or I guess the slightly older, not like 35-year-old, but like 25-year-old version of like skating to the like 7-Eleven or the comic book shop. I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna go get my new like USB cable because I bought the wrong one. So.
As long as you're riding, you're still skating. That's good.
Man, exactly, and like just doing little carbs on curb cuts and sidewalk and stuff. And, yeah, it's good to be rolling.
We were hanging out this week. We went to see the remastered version of the movie Rad, the BMX movie.
I never heard of that movie.
It's got Lori Loughlin in it, like.
Okay, yeah.
And Becky from.
Becky, yeah.
One of her like earlier movies.
The
and it's
Criminal.
basically, like Karate Kid, but only on BMX bikes.
Okay. Do they like fight on BMXs?
Hero,
Or?
kind of lovable loser, and then like
Yeah.
the pros are coming, and the small town is building this big, crazy BMX track, and this kid wants to qualify to be in the pro race. And there's so much unintentional comedy on it, and it was great. But it's remastered, so we saw it in theaters. Yeah, it was awesome.
What theater showed that? Was that like Cinematheque?
Yeah, Cineplex, like McGilvery, has like the classic series.
Okay.
So I think it's weekly that they show like older movies. And if you're on their like newsletter, their email newsletter,
Yeah.
they'll just send you what's playing each week, and
Huh.
pretty good. Like you can see classic movies that were like, meant to be seen in the theater. And
It's kind of funny, hey, like
good
the
way to experience it.
yeah, like the talk of like, or like what movies make sense to go to the theaters now, because so many of them are just being released on like co-released on streaming services, you know, and like I it's just so fun to go out. Like I don't need it to be necessarily epic, some epic
for sure.
movie.
And yeah, I went with one friend, and then he had actually his old boss used to be a carpenter. His boss, that old boss that is still a carpenter, I think has done quite well for himself, and is huge into BMX collecting.
Okay.
So he showed us a couple of builds that he has right now, and everything that he has is made from like new stock parts. So he won't buy any reissue stuff or any like restored stuff. It's all original in like mint condition.
Wow, very cool.
He really likes like the hunt of finding these different parts and stuff like that, and really neat and insanely expensive for these bikes that were.
It's not a hobby you hear about all the time.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and the stuff he had was awesome. And like I told him about like my reissue Arrow, and he was stoked on that too, so it's pretty neat.
Do you ever tune that one up?
Did what, sorry?
Did you ever tune that one up after that ride we did where the bike fell apart?
Oh yeah, not so often. Just a regular maintenance. That was a rough one though.
That was a rough one. Yeah.
Literally just fell apart.
I took my bike in for a tune-up, and I wasn't expecting them to do it the same day, but the guy said to wait. Bike shops always just drive me nuts. 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm like, but it takes like an hour to just like check, do the brakes, do the gears, and then I asked, I'm like, but like you didn't even ask like what kind of tune-up I wanted. Like you just have, like you didn't even ask about the bike at all, right? Like what if I just need, it's all, no matter what, 2 weeks, that's the only window. And also like, so he's like, oh, you just want to leave your bike. I'm like, bro, like what are we doing here? Like I ride this thing like every day. Like I'm not.
Yeah, like that is your mode of transportation.
And so this is what we do. Like, no, I'm not leaving it for 2 weeks. And then also, not that I'm expecting again like world-class service, but it just a little bit of inquiry as to like, oh, like, is there anything wrong with the bike? Like, are we doing a repair? Like, is something broken? You know, like, whatever, right? Just like fuck, I guess these guys just, that was the other thing too. As I left, I'm like, okay, I'll find another shop. And then as I'm driving away, just like clearly like so angry, should have called, clearly my mistake too, right? I'm like, there's no need to call. Like, what? Maybe it's 2 days, maybe it's 4 days. That's fine. I'll get it by the weekend. It's Monday. I'm like, fine. And then as I'm just like fuming, driving home unnecessarily through rush hour, didn't need to do any of this. I'm thinking like, yeah, operating a bike shop in some of like the wealthiest zip codes in the country, in a place where it's really good for biking, you probably don't really have to like worry about the little dude coming in for a tune-up when you're selling like $10,000 bikes probably every day. So I'm just like, god damn it, I hate when I'm in this level of whatever, basically like the pecking order, and there's not enough shops where, you know, I can't go to Walmart. So anyway, that's my rant. I remember leaving my bike at Woodcock, and they're like, yeah, pick it up next week. It was in the summer, and came back next week, just, they didn't even touch it. They're like, okay, cool. Like, oh shoot, oh, looks like we didn't get to it. I'm like, okay, so can you just do it like right now? I'll come back in like 2 hours. You know, just like, they don't even give, no, like there's no way we can do that. We have all these other bikes that we need to do. I'm like, yeah, that's the thing, like mine is one of them, right? Like, fuck.
And I'm bugging you right now.
It's just like that era, I guess it's two things. Like, on one hand, it's like, admit that I'm not paying enough money for the service that I probably want, right? Where it's like, well, I think you should do it right now. They're like, buddy, you think we have someone waiting here for you to show up? But at the same time, like, collectively, we all don't want to just pitch in a little bit so we don't have to pay an exorbitant amount for some reasonable level of, like, service. Like, there's got to be a middle ground, right? Like, there's got to be.
It could hurt what they're charging if they said, oh yeah, actually, give us like half hour. Do that right away.
Man, like, who knows what I would have paid, right? Like, do you have different rates and stuff? And where you're like, oh yeah, I know I screwed up. I know I didn't plan ahead. Fine, I guess I'm gonna eat that extra, like, because like at the end of the day, a bike mechanic, what are you paying, right? 25, 35 bucks an hour, 50 bucks an hour.
The buddy that I went to this is a bike tech, but I never asked him.
Like, you know, like they're making something, but you'd think that you would have a bit of capacity for just, I don't know, rush jobs or premium jobs or.
Yeah, like working in the service industry for cars, we could squeeze people in, and that was a car that has to go on a hoist, and
Exactly.
it's some pretty serious work done to it.
Versus like a little bike stand, not exactly like a garage bay with the whole hoist dedicated to it and like the 2 guys required. Whatever. I don't know, it's funny though, I guess it's like bikes are a tough biz. Because it is a lot of work to do a tune-up, and if you're really not making that much margin, I don't know.
That's why I like the single speed, and then it's easy to just do it yourself.
Yeah.
Gears is where it gets complicated.
And I've like messed with it enough in the past, and like you can obviously do it. Like it's just a couple cables, but it does make a difference to have just. I even have a little stand, but it's not quite locked in, and they got the right tools, and to me it's just worth it. Like now that I have a half decent bike, $100 every year and a half type of thing, like I don't know. I maintain the chain. That's what I do. I'm pretty diligent.
Tires and chain.
Tires and chain. I do my car tires.
Not too much else.
No.
Would you ever take a course on it?
I would absolutely love to, because like, man, like my previous bike, I changed tires like once a week for years, and so like I've fiddled with gears, like I played around with that bike a lot, like I've done a lot of work. It's just the derailleur stuff when you only watch YouTube videos versus being in a course, having that expert explain
you
it,
need someone there showing you.
holding my hand, totally. I would enjoy doing that. And it's the same thing, like I've ridden enough and haven't done enough like road repairs where it just makes a lot of sense. I'd get a ton of value out of it.
Do you ride with a toolkit at all?
I do, yeah. So I basically just carry like the multi-tool, and then now because I have these tubeless tires, the patch kit for those is kind of weird. So you have to carry, it makes sense to carry the CO2. I guess that's true for anything, but they have, since there's no tube, it's a different type of puncture kit where it's only the exterior tube that can obviously get a hole, which is really rare. So it's just like, it's like a rubber, you have like a long rubber strip that you grab in the middle and push in so that it's,
Oh yeah.
and then,
It's the same for cars, and then you cut it.
yeah, I didn't actually realize that's how it worked. So I have a micro version of that for my bike. And then I have just whatever. Put some snacks in
Do you
there.
need different rims for a tubeless bike tire?
It's a good question. You definitely do, but I think the rims are also like hybrids too, where they're,
Oh, so you can use
Yeah.
either or.
yeah. But you are right. And then again, because that was one thing about my tune-up where my front wheel has been slightly leaking some of like this tubeless fluid that was like, it's part of that self-sealing stuff. So I wanted to like, again, make it clear like, hey, like, do you top up the fluid? Is that extra? Like, do you check it? Anyway, just like, my bike's not like that fancy. It's the nicest bike I've ever had, like it's the cheapest bike you can buy from like a normal bike store basically, right? And so I'm just trying to treat it right. And this guy's just, he's just all, you could tell he's just like, oh, it's like a $800 bike. Like, I don't even care. My like handlebars cost more. I'm like, man, come on, I love this thing. I love this.
Yeah, it's crazy how much, like this guy that was describing his, the old BMX bikes that he had. This one build, just the hubs for the rims alone were $500 a piece.
Wow.
Plus he had to get the rims built.
Just the hubs.
I have no idea how much like the whole setup was, but
Are they still small though? Like, are they still kid sized?
yeah, that's the thing. Like these ones were like 24-inch tires, where mine are 29.
Yours are 29s.
Yeah.
Is 24 though
Mine are
full?
actually bigger than like a 10-speed.
Huh. Is 24 though still like kid size? I don't quite know how.
Just yeah, those are like that's like what I think the regular like BMX size.
Alright.
But also I have no expert on it. I have no clue. I just know mine are 29 and they're really big and look big.
Those bikes are, the kids here all ride those jumbo BMXs. That's the most popular bike
Yeah.
here. And it's kids, dude, it's so sick actually. Like, kids just like crews of like 6 kids just crushing wheelies down the whole street. It's actually nuts. And I like will be driving behind them or in front of them and like want to be like giving them props. I'm like, well, maybe I'll like turn my music up like they care or notice. Like, these kids are sweet.
Yeah, I think that's one of those tricks once you get them, you can ride forever.
I'm too scared to lean back. Because it's like they just lock it in so far back, and it's like one of those things where you have to commit clearly, and if you don't lean far enough back, you can't get into like the pocket, you can't lock it in. They just got it so smooth.
Yeah, it looks cool when you can cruise. I think it's like every neighborhood had that growing up, where there was one or two kids that could do that the whole length of the street.
Totally. Could you do it?
No, I'm shitty at it. I could do like a little bit, like a few pedals, but not like I can't make it go forever.
It was, man, crazy. One time I was biking with my family and my dad ripped a wheelie so far. And it was like the most unexpected thing. It was like, where did that come from? Never saw him do it again. And it was just, it's burned into my mind. And
maybe it's by accident.
It might have been. He was just out of control. It's like the first time I saw him like ride not that I was any better, but we were riding a dirt bike. He almost like drove over this. We were at the lake, whoever it was, Caitlin O'Connor or somebody. Could be confused for doing a wheelie, but really we all know it was out of control wildness.
Yeah, they're harder on a motorcycle, or more dangerous, I should say. I don't know, but harder.
Well, we'll see. He's got his ski snow machine all set up now, so it's pretty sweet though. I'm liking this like toy phase he's all about.
Oh yeah, there's some fun stuff for sure.
Why not, right? That's another YouTube video, YouTube streaming channel. Now I've beaten them to the punch, so I can spoil their surprise, but might have mentioned Hogue wanted to do a ice fishing one, hole hoppers. Be pretty funny. It's like a live stream. These guys just like in a frozen hut tent.
Yeah, I wonder. That seems like a really good idea. Like it seems like someone would have done that already.
Well, and like if you're just shooting
like, that's a perfect little studio.
It's the perfect studio. It's the perfect set. It's like really unique for people who like don't live where it gets frozen on the water, and you can do that. Like, just think of the first time you ever heard about ice fishing. Like, and you had already probably skated on the ice, and we're all like, yeah, ice is no sweat. I'm all about the ice. That's cool. Like, wait, what? You can fish through it? Like,
yeah, it's pretty wild. It's one of those things that's like you grow up with it, or at least knowing about it and seeing it, so you don't think twice about it. But for someone not from a region where rivers and lakes freeze completely, it'd be pretty wild.
It'd be pretty wild. Something about it just seems like it just, like how are the fish even still alive, or like how are they still hungry or something? I was watching some of reality TV show fishing, and they were catching tuna, and I didn't quite realize it was such a process where 2-hour-long fight with the reel. Once you get them close, you still have to harpoon the tuna.
Big job.
And they would miss it. Looked crazy.
I am surprised every time I go fishing that we actually catch anything.
Oh, totally. But there was something about like tuna where it's like we just eat it. Like, yeah, we go fishing, that's crazy, and oh, these guys went out and did this thing, it's crazy. But like, you can go to any city over like 300,000 people any night of the week, and there's like multiple restaurants where you can get like relatively like fresh tuna. Where like,
so lots of people are doing it.
Where like these guys, like the fish isn't that big, and it like took all of them all day to do it, right? Like,
and also like it's
I don't know, it's trippy.
I would say tuna's like cheap, but it doesn't seem like it would pay for people's salary and like a whole day.
That was the other thing that was apparent watching it as well. I'm like, and they talked, so it was like, how big was the fish, right? So it was like 100 centimeter, 100 inches. They're getting like $10 a pound. It was like 600 pounds. So it was only like, yeah, like $6,000 a day, split a few ways.
And you have $500 on diesel fuel for that thing.
Every other business expense in the book, like,
yeah.
That's pretty slim. kind of cool, where it also seemed a little bit where it was like a young man's game, or like, and it's like these kids. It's like you're just battling a fish, like searching for like this golden fish, basically. Or these older guys who seem like, like they whatever, probably got their fingers in a few pies and just kind of like doing this. And
Yeah, I guess people think it too. But isn't it amazing, like how big a lake or an ocean is, and that you're gonna pull up one animal from there on a hook?
the specific one too you're looking for.
Yeah, it's insane that it actually works. I'm surprised every time.
And it is crazy. I think it maybe just what does that say? Just like that there's more fish in the ocean than we realize.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like a problem.
Right? Like, I know that the numbers do change, but well, there's something different about it than hunting too, where you're just like crossing the threshold, you know? You're crossing the barrier into the water. I was watching a video that showed depth of water on like planet Earth too.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's just like, here's the section that's like 10 stories. Then like Statue of Liberty, Grand Canyon. And it's just like, man, that's one thing I have no interest in ever doing is like submarine or deep exploration down there. Like, too wild.
Have you ever been on a submarine?
No, I don't think I ever would.
We went on one, like just the ride at West Edmonton Mall. And it's basically like this big pool, and it's just on a track.
Okay.
So it doesn't actually like take in water to sink. It's just on a track, and I think it just follows it down. But I remember there was these like poles that you put your hand on, but that's where air came out of the pole.
Okay.
And my dad was joking. He's like, "Don't put your hand over there." It's like, well, suffocate. And I'm pretty sure that there was like the hatch was still above the water. It was just like
Oh yeah.
the windows were below water.
I'm like, I doubt they would even do that at West Ed. Can you imagine? It's like
Pretty
sub.
sure it was like open at the top somewhere.
They never even close it.
You know, hatch that big like kind of big hatch that they would climb into and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no even like locking. There's not even a locking mechanism.
Yeah. That'd be really crazy if you got in this thing, you could just hear it.
Well, you like see from the outside too. It's like, where's the oxygen filtration system on this vessel? Pretty sweet though. West Ed is
That's
fun.
a really exciting place to go.
Man.
Like 10 years old.
Agreed. Water park, just the sheer something about it too. Like when you're a kid, cold weather place, to be able to be in such a large space when you're indoors, like in the winter, is also really nice. Like feeling like you can just run around and play around. Like there's a big element of that.
We went like middle of winter, and just hearing the stories of like, oh, you never have to leave this place. Like they have like a medical center and like a clinic and like a
Right.
church. Like you can get married there. Like
You can get married there.
there's grocery stores and all kinds of food and a hotel. So it's like you could fully survive just living in this mall.
Especially as a kid too. You're like, man, we can just go to like the Disney store and then go to like Sport Check and like.
That was the thing too, and because there was they had like every store there, and obviously this is pre-online shopping, where it's like you never seen so many things for sale.
Oh, totally. Just overwhelmed.
The water park is really good, especially for indoors.
When are we gonna get one in Winnipeg already.
Like, it would do well. Like,
I don't understand how it wouldn't do well. You're just,
swim outside.
man, I remember like in Calgary, they have like community center water parks where it was like attached to the hockey rink. It was like, oh yeah, and they also have the swimming lessons and the wave pool.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought they definitely have room for it here.
Maybe that's the key, is you actually just don't build a huge one. And you just build like a reasonably sized, like it's good enough, it just can't take a lot of people. Like, so it's so fun, and you just do it, and then prove it out that way, I guess, instead of making the huge bet to do like the West Ed size one. But
I think you have to go all in.
there you go. Yeah, as soon as I'm saying that out loud, I don't like what it sounds like.
Because if you do little ones and it doesn't work, then people are like, see, it's not a good idea.
Totally, right? Versus just like
If
the,
you go all the way
yeah.
and it still fails anyway,
because it's kind of hard. Like, although I do believe the smaller one is worthwhile, it's like if you don't have the wave pool plus the slides plus the lazy river plus whatever, then you're kind of right. It's just like, it's okay. Like, what do you do there? You just go and bob in the wave pool for like an hour, which still is a lot of fun for like a lot of kids. But I think you're right.
Yeah, you have to like the whole age range.
I wonder how the that outdoor spot near Headingley has been doing. They have like wakeboarding done by like winches.
Yeah, that's all done.
They closed it.
Yeah, there was some poor business practices that led to it not working out, and then they sold a bunch of the cable systems, and now it's like done. I think they're just trying to sell the like the clubhouse and the land.
It's like the jungle gym.
But also we were looking at houses for sale.
Oh, yeah.
And the unmounted is for sale right now.
Get out of here. How much?
Yeah, I think 1.2 million.
Yeah.
Like pretty cheap.
Basically just the
for
land.
waterfront.
Just the land for sale at that price.
Yeah.
They're like,
I don't know if the slides there, but they don't have to be issued like wet and or wet miles, but it's like getting dangerous because it was all built on stilts and everything. Unmounted, it's just like a small hill and then everything is.
totally. Yeah, nothing's. Yeah, they've built it up. It's a built-up artificial hill.
Like wet miles was crazy because you were going down, I don't know, like 5 stories high.
I don't know if I ever went there.
Just super sketchy stair steps that go up there.
That's so classic. I love that. That's such just 20th century.
We're always like suddenly on, he had like lifeguard working out in the top, like sitting on the top bar, like leaning.
So sketchy.
Yeah,
Just go. Go.
yeah.
I remember being like, man, that would be the best job. You're just like, you could ride the water. You could like ride it to your break. You could just like get on the.
Well, yeah, you ride it down, like they pause it and then they get to go down.
You're like, whoa, that's so cool. Changing of the shift. Meanwhile, they're probably like, I don't even want to like get wet and walk down there.
Did you ever watch the documentary called Fast Action Park?
No.
It's about some like water park in New Jersey that had like has like the most injuries and fatal events happen in like,
Fatal events.
park or anything like that.
Fatal events, deaths.
And like they had a water slide that was a loop.
What?
Yeah.
Would that even work?
Like it sounds made up and all real, and they were paying kids that worked there to test it.
Wow.
Yeah, they're giving like $100 cash if you attempted it.
If you attempted the loop, you would fully just land on your face. There's no chance you get the speed.
Oh yeah, that's what they said. It's like it's broken noses, like crazy.
Ow. Just like basically like jump.
The person at the top of it, where you'd enter the slide, and they would hose you down before, so you're like slippery. So you couldn't
Totally. Yeah, they would need so much speed and also just like water in there, but there's so much friction on those slides. Like
Oh yeah, like you can make yourself stop on most
easily.
like, the average slide.
I wonder if you could even do it on like a crazy carpet type thing where it's just perfectly fast.
Yeah.
And that's still nuts. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll send you the link to that video. I think it might be on there. It's really good though.
it's like out of Succession. I think they own amusement parks in that part of their business.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's keeping up on that series for this season. I just watched the first one. I gotta get back into it.
Yeah, it's fun. Gotta join the conversation. Hot show.
You know, it's HBO Max. I just sent it to you, but it's worth a watch for sure. It's like unbelievable.
Pretty crazy working at one of those places though. Behind the scenes, I'm sure it's just wild. Like the injuries and the staff working there. It's like it always seems like just such a I don't know unstressed like society for whatever reason.
But they also serve all that,
Oh, nice.
and it's pretty neat to get booze there too.
Sounds actually like a pretty fun place though.
It does sound amazing. Yeah.
You know, you're like 15, you're like, man, let's down to the water park. Like,
Well, that's what they said. Like